What is up, folks, and welcome to the BJT show where I talk about sports, media, entertainment, and such things. I'm your host, Byron. And for this episode, I have a very special guest. He's actually been on the show before, but he is a former safety for the University of Georgia and national champion. And he also plays safety for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and he is a former safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Latavius Brenny, thank you for joining.
How y'all doing? Good morning. Good morning.
So, first things first, I want to talk about is Browns quarterback Sheduer Sanders was listed as the third string QB for the Cleveland Browns. And so he was listed as the third string QB, and he was
hmm
originally fourth on the depth chart. So it's
hmm
so Joe Flacco is the starter, and
hmm
then Dylan Gabriel is the backup to Joe, and then Sheduer is
hmm
third string. But Kenny Pickett was the second string, Dylan Gabriel was third string, then Sheduer was fourth string. And
hmm
so the Browns traded Kenny Pickett to the Las Vegas Raiders. Traded Kenny Pickett to the
Yeah,
Las Vegas Raiders. So
yeah.
now they only have three quarterbacks on the active roster. So,
hmm
what is your opinion on the whole Browns quarterback situation?
So my opinion on the Browns situation is that so Joe Flacco is like the veteran in the room. So it's like of course they're gonna start the veteran, Joe Flacco. And it's just like for experience for the younger guys. Joe Flacco is gonna lead the season off gunslinging. Everybody knows Joe Flacco gonna throw the ball. He gonna lead the season on gunslinging, but I don't feel like Joe Flacco have enough willpower to like take the Browns out of what the Browns are in. So it's like a project. I feel like it's like to have Joe Flacco there first to like show the young guys how it should mold, and between Dylan Gabriel and Sheduer Sanders, whoever picks up the game faster and like understand faster would be the guy up. Of course, I feel like they're like I'm not gonna say like trying to put Shador in a box, but Shador have a personality that like a lot of people can't. A lot of football players wish they had. So it's like that aura and that personality itself like speaks for itself in his game. So it's like the NFL is an organization. It's $1 billion organization. So it's like you can be yourself, but at the same time, it's like be calm with it. Like be calm with it and like improve yourself before being yourself. But Shador, listen, all hats off to him because keep going. Like, do you? But I just feel like they just more of it trying to like put him in a box and make him like understand that this is a business instead of like a performance. But Dylan Gabriel, of course, they're gonna put him in front. He's the older guy, and I feel like between the two preseason games, Dylan Gabriel, listen, Shador had the more flashier win. Listen, Shador can play, he can throw the ball, but Dylan Gabriel had I want to say the better preseason. Especially at the second game. Of course, I feel like they didn't give Shador all the time that he needed to show that he's like should be QB2. But at the end of the day, it's a fair game, and then and practice come around and like I don't wish this upon nobody, but injuries happen. So it's like whoever the next guy that comes up steps up for real. That's how it is. But I personally feel like give Shador about week 8. I feel like you'll be seeing Shador in the fire. Like week 8, I feel like you should see Shador in the fire. Dylan Gabriel gonna get his chance too, though. I'm not gonna sit here and say he's not gonna get a chance, but I feel like I said earlier, if whoever picks up the game that Joe Flacco is dropping first is going to be the quarterback that's next up.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense for sure. I think Dylan Gabriel had the better preseason overall, but I think Shadur has shown some flashes that he can play. I think he had a really good game against the Panthers when he threw 2 touchdowns, but the game recently against the Rams wasn't that good for Shadur, but it
Mm-hmm.
happens, so I get it. But let's take it back to the draft. So Shadur
Mm-hmm.
Sanders was picked in the 5th round, 144th overall, and that really surprised me because all throughout the pre-draft process, people were hailing Shador as a first-round pick, maybe even the first overall pick or top 5, top 10. And there were a few QB needy teams in the draft, And when he was picked in the fifth round, that surprised me. When he didn't go in the first, that surprised me. But it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's I knew the Giants weren't going to take him early in the draft just because I knew they were going to get Abdul Carter, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the Titans weren't going to pick him because they were going to pick
Camel work.
Cam Ward. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but then the Saints didn't pick him. The Saints picked an offensive lineman in the first round. But based off the preseason, that offensive lineman, I think it's Kelvin Banks Jr.
Was a pretty good pickup.
He's been doing pretty good. But
Mm-hmm.
then Shadur didn't get picked up in the first round by the Steelers because I thought, okay, well maybe the Steelers need a quarterback. Steelers need a quarterback. Even if Aaron Rodgers is there, they need someone there. Russ is
Mm-hmm.
gone. Justin Fields is gone. I thought they were going to draft him, but they didn't in the first round. So I'm like,
The
okay,
Steelers right now, they want to win right now.
they want to win right now, which is fair. But in the second round, the
Mm-hmm.
Saints drafted Tyler Shugg out of Louisville, and
Mm-hmm.
throughout the pre-draft process, I don't think he was seen as a top prospect in the beginning. But then,
Mm,
the more the whole draft process went along, he rose up draft boards, and the Giants
I
drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. So I'm like, what is going on?
I feel different about the quarterback out of Louisville because if you go back and look at the film of him like in Louisville, like he was part of the reason why Louisville was winning. Like if you actually go back and look at it, so I never like it was between for me. I felt like the sleepers was him and the other quarterback from Syracuse that got drafted to the Eagles.
Mhm.
I feel like those two quarterbacks is that if they find a great system, I feel like listen, don't quote me on this, but I feel like especially the quarterback for the Eagles, he could be like another Baker Mayfield. Like if he fits in a good system. That's what I see. I'm not saying like I'm not saying like the play style as much, but it's like the swagger, I feel like.
Mhm.
The
Yeah, I get
swagger to
that
him.
definitely.
Like he got a good aura to him at Syracuse when he was there.
And I think with Tyler Shugg, I think he's really talented. I've seen some of his film from Louisville, and I think he's really good. But it just
Hmm.
really surprised me. I think he was a good prospect, but it surprised me when he
Hmm.
rose up draft boards and ended up being picked in the second round. So
Hmm.
once the second round went by and Shadur wasn't picked, I was like, okay, something's going on. How do you go from a top 10 prospect and then you're not picked in the first round? After he wasn't picked in the first round, I was like, okay, it happens. Okay, fine. Second round went by, doesn't get picked in the second round. Third round goes by, doesn't get picked in. Fourth round doesn't get picked. Fifth round finally gets picked by the Browns. But the
I
Browns
know
drafted,
everybody was like, wow.
yeah, but the Browns drafted Dylan Gabriel in the third round, which makes sense. I think Dylan Gabriel was a good
Hmm.
prospect.
He
Doesn't
is.
have a whole lot of, he's not super tall, or anything like that. Short quarterback, but he had a lot of
Playmaker.
experience. Yeah, playmaker, had a lot of experience throughout college football, and he led the
Hmm.
number one team in the nation for a good part of the season. Yeah, they got
Yeah.
beat by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl pretty badly, but up to that point, he been doing
Shout out to Dan
pretty
Lanning.
good. He's doing pretty good. Yeah, really good
Hmm.
system too. And so, he got picked in the third round, which made sense to me. But it didn't make sense that the Browns took both QBs. But they got Shadur, and I was like, okay, let's see how Shadur is going to do. And with Shadur, a lot of the hype and everything and media
Yeah.
attention is going to come with it. That's just, it is how it is. He's not the only
Hmm.
quarterback or prospect to come in with a whole bunch of attention. It happens. It's fine.
I just feel like why not? You hear me? The Browns. It was like the Browns just took. They took it was a risk, just like the Saints took a risk on like drafting a quarterback and Spencer Rattler, and then drafting a quarterback from Louisville. I feel like the Browns took a risk knowing that their quarterback room was that deep.
Hmm.
Especially you still got Deshaun Watson too. He's on IR, but you still have him there. They paid him a ton of money, so
Hmm.
they still have him. So the Browns just took a risk, and I just felt like just think about the Browns organization. They needed that like
That spark.
okay that spark, and like I feel like Shador like this whole time of the preseason. Who and when you look at the Browns, who were you thinking about?
Shador.
Shador. So
Hmm.
it's just like the Browns really needed. I feel like the Browns really needed it. So it's like I feel like, and then I feel like the reason why Shador dropped so low because it's like, let me tell you something. Respectfully, there's only one Dion in this world. There's only one Dion, and like I say, and the Shador being that that's Dion's son, the the aura and everything. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. I love it. But it just going through the draft process, like some of these when you talking to these coaches and stuff like that, like
you gotta make sure you talk to everybody, leave a great impression on everybody. And like him going into it, I didn't really read into it as much, but him going into it probably I seen that some of them like he didn't even want to talk to certain teams and stuff like that. I don't know. Like certain stuff like that. I may be wrong, but like if it was that the case, is like of course I wouldn't draft you as high as like these other guys that talk to everybody, like the Jackson Darts and stuff like that, because it's like you people see that as arrogant, but we see it as like confident. I'm confident in myself. Like I feel like I'm the greatest out. Like, and that's how we should feel. But others may be seeing as arrogant. So it's like
Mhm.
going into the draft process, a lot of people probably seen it as arrogant. So it's like that's why his draft stock probably dropped so low, because his talent is not the thing. Talent is not the thing. He could go hand for hand for one of the best quarterbacks that was in the draft.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's part of the game, though. That's part of the game.
Yeah, and even Mel Kiper, who does a lot of NFL analysts and such things, analysis, he was surprised that Shadur didn't get picked in the first round, then the second round, third round. And he's like, what is going on? What's going on with this?
Hmm.
But they ended up drafting him, and it kind of seemed like the Browns didn't want him that much, but he was there, so I was like, okay, so what are they gonna do with that? And then in the preseason, week one of the preseason, the Browns played against the Panthers. They won 30-10.
Hmm.
Dylan Gabriel didn't play that game, I think, due to a hamstring injury, and Kenny Pickett, I don't think he played either due to a hamstring injury. And so in
I
week
feel
one of
like
the pre,
that was all.
and
I
so
feel like
week
that was
one,
all. It
yeah,
wasn't right. Like that was all. I feel like that was all meant. If you believe in God, it's all meant. Like that was
mm-hmm,
all meant for Shador to show what he. And I feel like they did that just to see what Shador can do. Like put him on a
mm-hmm,
platform. Let's see something.
mm-hmm.
Like.
And in that week one game, Shadur went 14 of 23 passing
Hmm.
with 138 yards and two passing touchdowns, 19 rushing yards on four carries, and he was sacked twice. But he did pretty good. He did pretty good that
Hmm.
game, but he didn't play week two against the Eagles in the preseason due to injury. Well, yeah, he didn't play week two against the Eagles due to injury, but Dylan Gabriel did. And when he
Hmm.
did, he was 13 of 18 for 143 passing yards, one interception that was a pick six, and he lost a fumble, but he ended the game with a 72.2 passer rating, and he was also sacked twice. And then Dylan Gabriel
Hmm.
said the whole, there
The.
are entertainers and they're competitors. I'm a
Uh-huh.
competitor, and some people thought he was talking about Shadur. Some people saying he was talking about the media and just whatever. But Dylan Gabriel also played week three of the preseason against
Hmm.
the Rams. So when he played against the Rams lost that game. The Browns won. The Browns beat the Rams in
Hmm.
that week three preseason game. And
I seen that game.
Gabriel was 12 and 19 for 129 passing yards and one touchdown. And then
Hmm.
Shadur came into the game later on in the fourth quarter, I believe, and he was 3 of 6 passing for 14 yards, zero touchdowns, zero interceptions, with a 56.2 completion percentage, and he was sacked 5 times. But a lot of people were saying, like, offensive line wasn't doing Shadur any favors and everything, which I do agree with. But I think the biggest knock on Shadur coming into the league was that he kind of holds the ball a little too long sometimes,
Yeah,
and
he do.
so as a QB, you got to get rid of the ball quickly. But at Colorado for a period of time, his offensive line wasn't doing him very many favors. So that was
Hmm.
partly due to him. That was
Holding the ball.
partly, yeah. So that was a reason why he was holding the ball so long. But even at Colorado, he still played well. He had a great completion percentage his last season, and so he's good. He's very talented. He can definitely throw the ball. I think he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks coming into the draft this year. But the week three game against the Rams, the Browns won 19-17, but Shador was taken out at the end of the game, and they put
Tyler
Tyler
Huntley.
Huntley in, who they just
Hmm.
signed. So Tyler Huntley ran that 2-minute drill, and people were saying, "Well, Tyler Huntley, did better than Shador and everything, and he led them down the field, but a good amount of those yards were off of penalties. Good
Hmm.
amount of those yards were off of penalties, but he did lead them down the field, and they kicked the field goal, I believe.
I would
But
say, listen. Tyler Huntley from he a Florida boy, so
uh,
I'm gonna ride for my Florida boy. So shout out to
uh,
Tyler Huntley. Shout out Snoop for sure.
yeah. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me to pull Shador out of the game, only because Tyler Huntley was released by the Browns like a day or two later. after the game.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking if you knew you were going to release him, you could have let Shador get those reps for that 2 minute drill just to see how he would operate in that. But
At the end of
yeah,
the day, like a lot of people, and then just to go back on that quote that Dylan Gabriel said, a lot of people got to understand that at the end of the day in the NFL, this is a business. We're fighting for a job. Like this is our life. Like people have 9 to 5s. Like when you wake up, this is what you have to do every day. Like this how I feed my family. So people got to understand that like it's always gonna be competition. Like you competing with the next man. Even if you're like you make friends, at the end of the day, you still competing with that guy. At the end of the day, it's all friendly competition. At the end of the day, it's never like, oh, we're gonna continue this after we get out of there. But nah, like you gotta understand, like people here today in one building, and you gone. You could be on another team by the next by the next day. So it's like gotta understand it's competition everywhere, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm a Shador fan. I'm a Shador fan, but I do agree that he does tend to like pat and hold the ball a lot, and I feel like he just always want to make the best, like the flashy plays sometimes instead of making the safe plays.
mm,
But that just comes with it. He's a rookie and he's just got to. That's why I say he's sitting under Joe Flacco. Man, Joe Flacco was one of them guys. That was what people
mm,
got to understand. Joe Flacco still can sling the ball. He's sitting under Joe
mm,
Flacco. Joe Flacco gonna teach him how to be, and that's why I say. Then again, Joe Flacco gonna teach Dylan Gabriel and Shador how to be a NFL quarterback right now. Like
mm,
right now, they still playing off like college rules and stuff like that, like
mm,
college mentality. I feel like they got the veteran Joe Flacco in there, Deshaun Watson. They're gonna teach him how to be an NFL quarterback. So whoever comes out making the right plays, because I'm telling you like this, Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is not gonna be there the whole season. Like I'm not gonna say he's not gonna be the starter the whole season. Like I like so whoever comes out, and you remember this, whoever comes out like looking like the guy, that's who they're gonna go forward with. So
mm. And I think with Shadur, like you were saying, he wants to make the big play. He's like, yeah,
mhm,
I'm under a lot of pressure in the pocket, but still, I want to go out there and make something happen. But I think Shadur will learn as he goes along that it's all right, and you can throw the ball away.
mhm.
Live to see another down. It's okay. It happens. It happens.
I seen something when they said what made Tom Brady is like he get like he got the yards that the defense gave him. So like if the running back open in the flat, like I'm gonna take that. Like I'm gonna take them 5 yards 'cause over the time. Them 5 yards add up. The five
Mm-hmm.
yards add up. Everybody wants to. Oh yeah, I see that bomb. I'm gonna go throw that bomb. But sometimes you gotta understand, like make the safe play over the big play. When you can make the big play, make the big play. But if you know that you trying to be somewhere, you got to make the safe plays.
Mm-hmm. And
And
even with throwing the ball away, Aaron Rodgers throws the ball away all the time. Even though he can
mm,
throw, even though he can throw the ball wherever he wants, whenever he wants on the field, I think Aaron Rodgers has one of the best touchdown to interception ratios ever. And he knows like if you got to throw it
yeah,
away,
Roger's
throw it
that
away.
guy. He's that guy.
Exactly.
He's that guy.
And I think Shador will get better as he goes along. I
He
know
will.
I understand that people hate on him a lot, but the more that I've learned about Shador, the more he's starting to grow on me. I think he's a good player. He seems like a cool, down to earth dude. I know he's a little flashy, and some people don't like that, but
Mm.
but I think he'll
People
be
hate
just
what
fine.
people hate what they don't understand.
Hmm.
They they figure like, oh yeah, he's like cocky, he's this, he's that. What like is it wrong for being confident in myself? Like am I wrong for being like am I wrong for feeling like I'm the greatest?
Hmm.
Like is that like and I understand you let your peers tell you that, but like sometimes if they ain't gonna tell you, I gotta tell myself sometimes, you know?
Hmm. And even with
And
yeah.
And I feel like Shador, like just, and then you gotta understand, just his dad legacy and everything. He just got to like, I just feel like he's a got to. You feel me?
Hmm. Yeah. And then in the game versus the Eagles, they said even though, analysts were saying that even though Dylan Gabriel did have a pick six and a lost fumble,
Hmm.
those were his negative plays, but his positive plays, they said the offense was looking pretty smooth and getting down the field. And, it was just a lot of, quick plays here and there, a lot of short stuff, a lot of quick game type of plays, rolling out, getting them out there. And so, And with Shador in the game versus the Rams, I didn't see a whole lot of that. But
Hmm.
you kind of try to play to your quarterback strengths. But a lot of it is fitting into that system. They got to fit into Kevin Stefanski's system, learn the
Hmm.
system more, and be able to operate within that system. So it makes sense. It makes sense why Dylan Gabriel is the number 2 quarterback and Shadur is the third
Yeah,
quarterback. Yeah.
I feel like, and another thing, Dylan Gabriel is like he an improviser. Like Dylan Gabriel can actually move. Like people don't give him that much credit on like how he can move for real.
Mm-hmm.
But and Shador is like more like he can run, but it's like he's more of like a pocket passer a little bit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to stay in the pocket. Dylan Gabriel, I feel like if once he don't see in college, it shows like once he don't see something, he's gonna use his feet. He
Mm-hmm.
gonna make waves. And I feel like sometimes like the game is changing. A lot of quarterbacks gonna have to learn how to move around because some of these ends, some of these these D tackles getting athletic now. These D tackles running a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
These D ends running 4.3. So it's
Some of
like
them are
you're gonna
faster
have
than
to,
receivers.
yeah, you're gonna have to start using your feet more than you have to.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I think, yeah, Dylan Gabriel did a really good job of that at Oregon and at Oklahoma and at UCF, using his
hmm
feet, getting around and moving around. And if it's not there, running. And I think with
hmm
Shador, I think once his pocket presence gets a little better, once he starts stepping up in the pocket a little better and making those throws or throwing the ball away if needed, because he is an accurate passer. He's definitely
he
an
is for
accurate
sure,
passer. So
for sure.
once Shador just kind of calms down and just kind of just one thing at a time, he's gonna learn and he's gonna get better. So I think he'll be fine. I think all the
No, he's gonna be great.
quarterbacks on the
He's gonna
Browns
be great.
roster will be just fine.
They're gonna be great. They're gonna be great.
Mhm.
They're
It's
gonna be
just
great.
it's just so much that goes along into it, and with the media and everything, and people were even saying that they were sabotaging Shador
Of
because
course
of
they're gonna say that.
because of how the offense was looking and everything, and
Of course they're gonna say that.
it's just been a lot. It's been a lot.
Of course they're gonna say that. Like, man, people gotta understand, like, how Shadori came in, like he came in like all eyes on me. So it's like every little thing's gonna be under a microscope. So when something's not going right, oh, they sabotaging him. They sabotaging him. It ain't like that sometimes. Like sometimes it may be like that. Sometimes it's not like that. You just gotta let when week 8, I'm telling you, week 8, somebody is gonna be a new quarterback. I'm telling you. So once Shador get in and we see how Shador actually hoop in the regular season, then we could start like making analysis like, oh yeah, they sabotaging him and stuff like that. Because he made the 53 regardless.
Mhm. And
So
even with Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco was on the couch. The Browns called him
mhm.
up and he led them to the playoffs, just like
Yeah, I'm
that.
telling you.
So
I'm
I think
telling you.
it makes sense why he's the current starter now, because when they needed
Joe
him,
Flacco is the,
he came
listen,
through.
you gotta understand, Joe Flacco is the same guy that led the Ravens to the Super Bowl. Like
Joe Flacco
Joe
beat
Flacco
Brady
is
in the
Joe
playoffs like twice, like 2 or 3 times.
Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco. Like that's is he a Hall of Famer? Maybe, but Joe Flacco, so Joe Flacco.
When it's time to play and when it's time to be clutch, he's clutch.
Yeah, I won't bet the whole house on him, but I go with Joe Flacco.
hmm Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how the Browns look this season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're gonna look pretty good though. I
Mhm.
think
They already have a really good defense. They always have a good defense. So,
they it's just more of their offense than their quarterback situation. I feel like they added receivers. They got Jared Judy. Jared Judy is that I'm here, Florida boy. So Jared Judy is one of them guys. Been watching him since high school. Played with him. He one of them guys. Who else they got? That's the thing. Who else they have at receiver? They have Isaiah Bond, but did they sign him to the 53 or
I'm
did
not
they just
sure. I know they have Judy. I know they have David and Joku
David Njoku, another
is
Miami boy,
there.
Florida boy.
So, but they'll be fine though. They'll be fine.
David Njoku, and like, if you ever see him in person, he looked like an action figure. Like he don't look like a
Mhm.
real person.
They say it looks like He-Man or something like that.
Man, that man is huge. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a big person, but he is a big person too.
Mm, For sure.
He's a big person. Man, I'm trying to think. Who else are your receivers? I don't think. once the season go, we're gonna see how it goes for real.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.